Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito sitting alongside Kevin Coleman, Dave Stewart, and John Kovacs as we are just under, calling out 28 hours to kick off in the FCX. First game's at 6 o'clock tomorrow. But the full first weekend opens up. We've got an entire slate we want to go through. And first of all, Dave, thank you for being on with us today. John, we've loved having you on all week as well. Your first thoughts, Dave, now heading into this 2017 season?
Well, it's like everything else right now. Everybody's got hopes. Everybody's got positives they can look to right now and goals to set. So it's always nice. It's hard to the first week of the season looking at the slate of games here. It's hard to pick out who's going to come out of the gate strong, who's not. But we'll start to get an idea tomorrow night. But it'll be fun.
Oh, John, one thing we were talking about earlier today that is standing out now as I look at it. Because of the change in divisions, you've got Ridgefield switching from the west to the east. You've got a lot of games now that feature teams that didn't play in the regular season in 2016.
Just makes it more interesting to me because that's an opponent that you don't know. That's an opponent where you're calling your buddy who coaches for such and such. Hey, what'd they do against you? You're watching the film a little more intently, and you're trying to figure out just what they do. If you've got a rivalry, maybe it cooled off a little bit because you didn't see each other for a year or two.
We've got an out-of-conference game on the schedule as well. We're going to learn a lot about Norwalk when they take on the Green Dragons of Hamden. We're going to spend some time on the Ridgefield Tigers as well. They've been a very difficult team to figure out in this preseason. For a while, it was, they just lose so much. How are they going to bounce back? I feel like the last 2 weeks, though, they've become a sleeper team that is going to knock off Darien potentially week one and have a very friendly schedule now in that East Division towards the end of the season.
Well, Frank, we talked about it all week. This is not going to be an easy week one matchup for Darien. They have to travel to Tiger Hollow, which any team plays there, they know how difficult it is to play at the Hollow. It's not easy to do. They're going up against a veteran defense who last year, a lot of those were starters, around juniors and sophomores. Now they're seniors and juniors. So that's something that Coach Kevin Callahan has to be thrilled about with his defense. He gets a lot of those starters back. The offensive end, that's where the question marks are. Greg Gatto, yes, he's a talented quarterback. He has the speed. The question is, can he sit in the pocket? How confident is he in the pocket? He got some good starts when Drew Fowler went down last year for the Tigers due to an injury. That's the only question mark I have. Of course, how do you fill the shoes of Shane Palmer, Colin Lowe, Chris Longo? How do you fill those shoes? It's going to be a tough thing for them to do, but I think that's where you start to see Matt Lombardo. Some of these new guys may come to be. So I think it's an exciting time for Ridgefield. They don't take a complete nosedive. They take a little bit of a slide, but I still like their chances.
One of the biggest differences I think we'll see in the Tigers this year is that a lot of these players are going to have to go both ways. They were very two-platoon last season where they had a majority of guys that were offense only or defense only because of such a big senior class. I don't think you have that luxury this season. We're going to circle back to that game in a little bit. We've obviously got a lot of coverage coming from St. Joe's and New Canaan Friday night and Greenwich and Trumbull on Saturday. We'll be at both those games. I want to start, though, with Bridgeport Central at Staples. And, John, I think Staples is a very safe bet this week. I think they would be as close to a lock as you could have. It's an advantage over Central. But what kind of a Staples team are we going to see this year out of a program that for so long was a notorious state contender that's now just living at 500?
I saw them last week because I went to Fairfield Prep where they had their game scrimmage against the Jesuits. I thought they looked very strong early on against the Jesuits. They ran the ball well. They ran the zone. They ran the option. They got hard yards up the middle very well. They got yardage out of the quarterback very well. I thought the line was strong up front. They made mistakes against Prep, and that caused a little concern to me. First drive, they get a great return coming out of the box of the opening kickoff. They get inside the one, and on fourth down, under center in jumbo, drop the snap. Prep gets up 2 touchdowns on them. One is Staples gets great pressure on the quarterback, and the quarter starts, and you love this, Frank, I know you do, the quarter starts peeking up, and he starts coming up because he's going to play contain on the outside, and there goes the receiver wide open, 47-yard touchdown. That gets Prep on the board. The other one, it's another scramble, and the quarterback just dumps to a safety valve on a swing, and the whole grain had come across the field and he had nobody. So busted plays hurt Staples in that.
And that's hard to believe because you think about Staples and they were always a power. Really, the offense was their strength because they had such physical running backs and capable quarterbacks that they were able to pound it down your throat and instill their will on you. But at the same time, their defense played very responsible, smart football and did not allow opposing teams the ability to turn it into a shootout. How, Dave, are the Wreckers going to get back to that pass? Because right now it just feels that it's not the Staples program we know.
Yeah, it hasn't been that powerhouse where you see them on the schedule, and if you're a good program, you think this is one that I'm really scared of playing at this point. I think part of that has to do with over the years their numbers from the youth leagues have not been what they were in the past, and they've been getting a little bit smaller teams out and things like that. I think playing Bridgeport Central right off the bat is a good landing spot for them to start the season because you're getting a team that on paper you should beat handily. You can work out a few things, and I think that'll help them get something established. Whether it turns into anything more than a 500 season again remains to be seen.
And I mean, the big games are going to come later in the year. They'll see St. Joe's, they'll see Darien, they'll see Wilton. These are games that if the Wreckers want to be a state contender again, they need to win. On the other side of the field, Kevin, the Central Hilltoppers. If we were to sit here right now and say two teams in the conference finished 0-10 last season, most people would probably assume it's Bridgeport Central. That's not the case. They had wins on the calendar last year. How do they continue now to improve on that number, do you think?
Well, we look back to the FCI tour we just went on and getting a chance to speak to some of those captains. I liked their positivity. I liked how confident they were. This is a hungry senior class, they said, which anyone would love to see. So I think while, yes, this might be a great matchup for Staples to begin with, they have to be careful because this is a hungry Hilltoppers team that I think is coming into week one.
And Central is one of those offenses, John, that is not run by many of the teams now in this spread era. If they get a little momentum going, they catch you sleeping, they can do damage to you.
Central is a team that when they get up on you, they will not let up. They will get up on you, and they are going. They just so crave that situation that they start to taste the blood and really enjoy it. And the other thing is they will make you pay for mistakes and pay hard. If you are the corner and you come up and start to sniff the run on a scramble, you're going to get burnt deep just like Staples did against Fairfield Prep. You don't want to get in a shootout with this Central team because they have guys who will run past you before you get the chance to flip your hips and run with them.
The four of us are going to be on FCX Tailgate tomorrow before the game, so I don't need your picks right now, but I get the sense we're leaning Staples here. This is just game one. We've got 8 more to go. We're going to cover all of them when we get back. There's more Nutmeg Sports coming up next on the HAN Network.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the best experience we can. The Pamby Motors team is here to help you choose the right Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram in a friendly, pressure-free environment. And right now, during the summer clearance event, you'll find some of our best prices too. Like this lease on a 2017 Ram Quad Cab Express for $149 a month. Visit Pamby Motors, Route 7 in Ridgefield, PambyZone.com.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month here on the HAN Network.
The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
New Canaan Foreign Car. Yes, New Canaan Foreign Car has been servicing all makes of foreign cars for over 50 years. We also buy, sell, and consign cars too. We can help you with all your automotive needs from service to sales. Call us at 203-966-2681.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside.
Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook. At Portofino Restaurant and Wine Bar in Bethel, fresh and simple food is our concept. Owned and operated by brothers Rocco and Louie, Portofino has a distinct and diverse food and drink menu. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Come join us for live local music on Tuesdays and Sundays, Wednesday nights for mouthwatering prime rib, and every Thursday night is ladies' night. Planning a party? All our catering menus are personalized to suit your event and your budget. Join us at the Dolan Plaza, 213 Greenwood Ave, Bethel, and call us at 203-797-8131. Like us on Facebook.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to coastalorthoct.com. Like them on Facebook.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the Jeep Celebration event and Ram Power Days. Now through September 30th.
Back on the HAN Network, Frank Granito with Kevin Coleman, Dave Stewart, and John Kovacs as we continue to look over Week 1 in the FCIAC and the football schedule. Let's look now, Dave, your alma mater, Trinity Catholic, hosting the Danbury Hatters. This game, I think, a little bit closer than people might expect.
Yeah, Trinity Catholic's hard to put a finger on this year because they're a very small team. I mean, every year as a Class S school, a private school they're a very small roster. So it's hard to put a finger on what they're doing. They've got a large freshman class coming in. You don't know what they're going to be doing, but they get the game at home, so that's a nice little plus for them. And
that's the opener of the new stadium, correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's 6 o'clock opener of the season. So they get to kick off this season, and then they're out. But again, they're a hard one to put a finger on. They've got some talent there, but as a small school, you're always playing up to play those bigger schools, and you can get worn down over time. That's the thing to worry about with them.
It's very interesting, but I think they are a team that really benefits from the way the schedule manipulated itself this year, because they were the one school that found themselves in a 1-4 hole, or 1-3 hole at one point last season, and on the verge of not having any chance before going on that win streak. So they get a lot of those top-tier teams, John, now on the back end of the schedule. Maybe lets the Crusaders find themselves, get a little momentum.
They were in a 1-3 hole, but they could really have won any of those 3 losses. I mean, that were really games that they were this close to winning, the 3 that they lost early on. And it's kind of odd that you say that, because you look at some of the games that we're going to talk about coming up, and a 1-3 hole could be lethal for a lot of these programs.
It'll spell absolute doom when you think about how tight the playoffs are going to be, especially with class realignments every year.
And you got to think. That Coach Panapata did such a great job of holding that team together and actually making a nice run in that second half, and that's going to be key for them with a young team and a small squad this year, just keeping it together.
I think Donnie's done a tremendous job since he's been there and is the exact guy they need for that job. Again, you're right. It's such a small school that you're trying to recruit, but there's not a lot of draw right now to go play football at Trinity Catholic compared to being at a West Hill or Stamford, especially if you're within the city.
Exactly.
And you're also competing against King on the other side of town as well, which almost gets forgotten. For Danbury, they're coming off a season, Kevin, 2-8, as athletic as anyone in the conference, but they're another program that it's shocking they don't get the draw out of being such a large population.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and it's a town or city that really comes together. It's a really good community, and it is odd that, but this is a very strong senior class. I think, talking to these seniors, I think they're so excited. And they were talking about this Trinity Catholic game during that FCIAC tour, and you could tell how pumped up they were. But for Trinity Catholic, and Dave, you can chime in on this, they get to open up that new stadium. When we talked to them on the FCIAC tour, they cannot wait for the 6 o'clock start, and they were just so pumped up for this game, and it's really cool to see. So that's why I think if you're Trinity Catholic in a game like this where you get to open up that new stadium, they seem very hungry. So if you're Danbury, yes, I know you're on the road, but you really have to be careful because this is a home team like the Crusaders who are going to be very hungry at home.
Yeah, this is going to be a team that's got a lot of energy, a lot of heart in it, and really, when you look at it, you're opening your stadium game one, it's got to have a feel of a championship for Trinity Catholic.
For the life of me, I have never been able to figure out, and it's there are a few towns like this, and I know I've had conversations with other coaches about it. I'm sure you have as well, Frank. How does Danbury not parlay the dominance that they show in track and field and on the wrestling mat to even respect, to a football team that's in the hunt every year? That team, given the athletes that are in that building, should go out, and that should be we know we're going to go 500. How far above 500?
It should be a guarantee that Danbury goes 500 every year. That is one of the biggest anomalies.
I mean, it's not the exact answer, but you have to look at it because it's a big soccer community. Kids grow up, and that's a big it's a big soccer community. It's a town that loves soccer, and I'm not trying to avoid to that sport, but I'm just saying that it's a community that grows up. They love the game of soccer, and that's why I think you're starting to see kids more rely on that soccer program than football.
But I think the kids who love soccer are kids who have loved soccer their whole lives.
Correct.
And I don't think you're dealing from the same pool of players.
I know.
There's 3,000 kids in this school. 1,500 are boys. Are you come on.
That's a big team.
There's got to be enough to put together a football team.
Well, when it comes to with that wrestling program too, those kids are doing that wrestling year round. They're just a powerhouse, and
that's fair.
They're not transferring over to football. Like in a lot of schools, you see some of your best wrestlers are good football players. So, and, that just doesn't happen at Danbury.
All right, let's keep moving down the line here. Stamford, Fairfield, Warde. Warde is at home last year. The Black Knights 27-7 winners. I think the Stamford offense, with Cameron Freckleton back in the backfield, is too much for Warde. I just think he's too physically capable and athletic of a runner that he could go off for a big day.
I could never figure out Warde. I can't, and full disclosure for those who don't know, I was a coach at Fairfield Ludlowe the past 4 years. Coached at Fairfield Prep the beginning of my high school career. I, for the life of me, can't figure out public school football in Fairfield because you have youth programs that do have some success, and it doesn't translate to that next level. And I know there was talk, a lot of it publicly last year, about, well, let's combine the high schools into one program, which the state's never going to allow.
No.
But continue with the 2 youth programs. And I'm among those who say, why don't we have one youth program feed Warde and one youth program feed Fairfield? And then, it's like a New Canaan, like a Darien, you have the kids are learning that system from day one. Oh, no, we can't do that. That's against the youth football rules.
The Fairfield football in general right now is not in a position it would like to be, but I'm higher up on this Stamford team than I think most people are. I think they have the athletes in place. We saw them week 1 last year, John. They had that huge win at home and the comeback over Danbury. There are a lot of pieces that could put together a talented season for the Black Knights.
Yeah, I think Stamford usually has some athletes that'll make some noise on the field. And I just feel like, I feel like this is a good matchup for Stamford. I feel like they have a good shot at winning this game to start off the season. I always feel like with Stamford, there's something goes wrong. They get to a point they may win 3 or 4 in a row, and then something slips up and it goes downhill. I don't know if it's a focus thing. I don't know if that's if injuries have played a factor in that. But it just seems like something. The other shoe always drops for Stamford, and I'd love to see them turn the corner. They have a storied history, but until they do it, it's hard to see them doing it.
They need stability to do that, and I think you may see more of that this year because Jamar Green's not facing what he faced a few years ago when his staying in the head coaching job was a question mark, which was one of the more unfair things I've ever seen, because here's a guy who really, if given the chance and the support, would take that program to that level that Dave talks about.
I agree with that. Let's stick with the Fairfield schools. One more here before the break. Let's go Fairfield Ludlowe under the new coach Mitch Ross at West Hill. West Hill at 4-6 last year, a little under the radar. I think that they played better than their record resembled. For Ludlow, we know all the stories. It was a disaster to say the least. What can we expect now in year one under Mitch Ross?
For this game, you talk about West Hill and Stamford. I think those are two schools in Stamford that are going to be actually pretty strong this year. I think these are two programs that I think are actually going to play pretty well against some very good teams. And I think this is a good matchup for West Hill week one to kind of get that confidence going up, because listen, we know what Ludlow is, and while I know they're turning over a new leaf, they got a new coaching staff, and I like the attitude that this senior class has compared to last year. I think West Hill still takes care of business in week one.
You got the Viking purple on.
Yeah, I was going to say, not because I have the shirt on, but I think the West Hill Vikings are going to have a very good year. I think you're right, that 4-6 is kind of, you kind of forget how close they were to actually being over 500 too. I mean, they could have beaten Greenwich.
I had Greenwich week one, and I mean, they had them on the ropes.
They could have easily won that. I saw them play New Canaan, and they actually acquitted themselves well. They didn't, New Canaan was blowing everybody out. They didn't really manhandle West Hill. West Hill did some good things against them. So I think you got to hand it to Coach Marcuccio. He's done a good job with them the last couple of years, and I think it'll continue this year.
And he's got them believing in themselves.
Yeah,
if you followed them in the off season, they did the lineman challenge stuff. They went to camps. They did passing leagues, stuff like that. These kids they're convinced that they're better than 4-6, and they're going to come out to prove it starting Saturday.
Well, we're going to get a look at them in week 2 when they take on the Norwalk Bears. It'll be our first live look at both those teams, and I'm really excited for that one. Norwalk goes out of the conference this week, and they're taking on Hamden. We're going to look into that game and our final 3 when we get back to Nutmeg Sports after this. Yes, go pick that up. Go get.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire.
Celebrate summer with fresh, made-to-order picnic boxes from Walter Stewart's Market. We have delicious summery selections from buttermilk fried chicken to grilled lemon chicken kebab, grilled shrimp Caesar salad wraps, or lobster salad rolls. Our easy-to-carry picnic boxes come with your choice of a meal, as well as a dessert, beverage, and utensils. Order online for simple pickup options. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and online at stewartsmarket.com.
CT City Lacrosse is dedicated to the growth of lacrosse for youth and high school players. Directed by Stanford High head coach Mike Nazaro, we help players reach full potential on and off the field. With an indoor facility in Stanford, we offer year-round training, camps, clinics, and private instruction. Visit ctcitylax.com for more.
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Weed & Duryea, New Canaan's home center and full-service lumberyard. Everything for your home and improvement projects. We also carry seasonal items, barbecue grills, housewares, newest LED light bulbs, doors, windows, and much more. Weed & Duryea, 21 Grove Street, New Canaan, a division of Northeast Building Supply.
At Black Horse Garage, we fulfill all your sports car needs. We specialize in manufacturer-recommended service and aftermarket high-performance parts and installation. We have one of the nation's top storage facilities and offer a high-end collision department that understands your need for detail. Visit blackhorsegarage.com for more.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
Back on the HA Network, continuing to look over the conference opening weekend schedule. John Kovac, Dave Stewart, Kevin Coleman talking about soccer, and Frank Granito here.
So who's won? Other football, Kev.
We left.
It was one time, okay?
We left before the break talking about West Hill. We'll see them week 2 when they take on Norwalk. Norwalk goes out of the conference in the first week. They travel to Hamden. Hamden, a school that was 2-8 last year. But John, you're thinking this might be an improved Hamden team.
They could be. Yeah, you just keep waiting. I coached in the SCC from 2001 through 2008. And the conversation in the SCC always, and when you go to the clinics and whatnot, is when is Hamden going to take that next step? Boy, Hamden's a place, if that opened up, I'd love to get a crack at that job and see if we can get him to the next level, because you've got a huge student population. You've got a good feeder program, and it's just they never get over that hump. You keep thinking they're there, you never get over the hump. So I think this is a great match. This is a very intriguing matchup to me, because you have a Norwalk team trying to find its new identity and a Hamden team that everybody keeps waiting to take that next step.
Well, it's no surprise who the X factor in this game is going to be, and that's A.J. Hall for Norwalk. The young man did it all last year, over 1,500 total yards. He scored over 18 touchdowns, and I mean, he'll beat you in a variety of ways, Dave.
Yeah, obviously they have the aces in place for Norwalk. This is an intriguing game though, because, you know, like John was saying, Hamden, everybody's waiting for them to take that next step. They have some veterans on that team. Are they ready to do it, or is just going to be another year where they go down the tubes? And then you've got the Norwalk team, which has kind of the skill players, but how do they fill in the rest of the way? This game could go a long way to determining how at least the early part of the season is going to go for both of these teams.
This game could honestly turn into a shootout as well. You could just see them matching, whether it's defensive stop, or score for score. I think it goes back and forth all the way. Kyle Gordon is going to be leading the Bears offense, only a sophomore. We saw him at Grip and Rip It, though, and I know that across the board here we were impressed.
Yeah, for a sophomore, I mean, we were all very impressed with his, how quick he got the ball out to his receivers. Great passer for someone his age, and to not have many starts and have many reps with the offense. I think we all were just very impressed, and we're looking forward to seeing how he does throughout the season. And I think this is a Norwalk football program that takes a step up this year. And I think that's a team you have to keep an eye on, not just football. I think across the board in their fall sports, I think Norwalk is going to be a school to look out for.
4-6 last season. Can they get to 500 or better this year?
Oh, yeah, I think so. You've got me excited about this game now, and I'm kind of almost disappointed that I can't go see it, because whether they're trading body blows in terms of defensive stops or they're throwing haymakers and in this offensive shootout, this could be a game where these two teams just stand in the middle of the field and just trade blow for blow, and it could be just a tremendous game to watch.
If it does turn into a bit of a shootout too, when you have Gordon and you have Hall on your team, that's a big plus. When you have the best players.
Don't shortchange Hamden in a shootout.
When you have the best players on the field, though, that's
A.J. Hall punt return wins it. Mark it down right now. I'll make that prediction. That's how we get. Wilton.
Somebody bring me a pen.
Yeah, Wilton coming off 7-3. They take on Brian McMahon, who was 0-10. I think Coach Albano's got McMahon trending up. Coach Cunningham has got the Warriors on the cusp of being a state playoff team this year. Warriors roll big.
I don't think it's big. I think that's going to be a tough game. I think that's going to be an old school smash mouth football game because that's what both those guys preach. I don't see McMahon going 0-10. It really surprises me that they went 0-10 last year. They run a system. They run it well. They do a lot of things well. I think that's going to be a tighter game than you think.
When you see a program like that go 0-10, so that's the type of thing that seems to spiral out of control as the season's going along. You know, you lose a few, you start to feel like you're going to lose that next game, and I think that's kind of like what happened to Brian McMahon last year. I don't see that, again, like John said, I don't feel like that's going to happen to them again. I think Wilton is the winner in this game, but I think it's actually a very close one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Wilton's going to win this game. Harvey Alexander, my guy. I mean, he had a great junior year. He's going to come back as a captain, a great leader. I think this is a guy you had to look out for throughout the FCAC this year for the Wilton Warriors. I don't say they're going to win big, but it's going to be comfortable.
All right. Darien and Ridgefield, rematch of the Double L State Championship game. The big questions. Who is the next quarterback for Darien? How is he going to answer the call? What kind of Ridgefield Tiger team are we going to see on the field?
You know probably better than anybody in this room, one of the most difficult things to do in football is to beat a team twice in a row. And when we were talking earlier in the show about this, that thought struck me. And I do think until somebody beats Darien, they're the king of the mountain. And you've got to prove to me, to beat a man, you've got to beat the man. That number, that 0 starts to get real heavy in that right-hand column, and the toughest thing to do is beat a team 2 times in a row. And the last time all these kids put on the pads and the game uniforms and got out there was last year's state championship, which Darien won 28-7. Those Ridgefield kids, have been counting down the days to get another shot at that, and I got to think that factors in.
I agree, but I just, I think there were so many different key players to last year. The biggest part of high school football is the turnover year in and year out.
Yes.
It's a senior-dominated game, so with the long layover and the really new beginning, I don't know how much of a factor that becomes. Dave, your thoughts on this one?
I look at this, and I agree with John. You look at Darien and New Canaan, and they've done so well over the years that until somebody knocks both of those 2 teams off, or at least one of those teams up, you can't really take them out of the top 2. Buchanan only loses to Darien right now, and
they only lose to them too, just not since they advanced in a state class.
Exactly, that's very true. So at this point, I'd have to say that Darien going in, you look at Darien and say, okay, they're going to go up there and they're going to beat Ridgefield. Ridgefield has a couple advantages. Tiger Hollow is a big advantage for Ridgefield. They play very well up there. I think their quarterback situation. I think Greg Gatto is excellent athlete. And I think they'll be all set there. They lost a lot of their skill players, though. They lost a lot of guys. Shane Palmer, Longo, guys like that. I think this is a hard call for Ridgefield right off the bat. And it seems like Ridgefield gets these tough games.
Yeah,
they really
first
do.
Game
really
schedule makers do not like something up there.
Listen, they're the king of the mountain. Darien, they deserve all the respect. They deserve it all. And my question is about quarterbacking. And Rob Trefone, head coach, has really done a nice job of talking about Jack Joyce, who right now is going to fill in as a starting quarterback for the Darien Blue Wave. The only thing I'm worried about for him is his footwork. I think you look at him stepping back into the pocket, what kind of a pocket passer is he going to be this year? And I think if you're the Ridgefield Tigers, you're going to come out in the end and really try and put pressure on Jack Joyce.
Does he have to be a pocket passer?
No, Coach Trefone called him the most capable runner he's had at the quarterback position.
Right, and if I'm the Tigers, I want to go after him. Let him run. Let him, try and get out there and see if those middle linebackers can tackle him.
Confident you are confident in your contained game, aren't you?
I am, and listen, I think Darien deserves all the respect, but they're going to Tiger Hollow. I'm going for the upset. I'm taking the Tigers. It's going to be a very close game, but I'm going to say the Tigers going to win on a winning field goal.
Darien, 2 scores.
Okay. All right.
2 scores. They are, listen, and it's going to come out as word vomit when I start saying it. They are the best program in the state of Connecticut right now, bar none. Until they are knocked off, there's no arguing that. And Rob Trefone does as well a job as anyone of reloading, getting prepared, and they take care of games that they are supposed to win.
And I talked to those kids at the Rudin Report, Dave Rudin's Media Night, which was a great event. Thanks to Dave for organizing that, because it gave us a chance to talk to a lot of those. Yeah, I didn't get out on the tour. I got to talk to a lot of those people. In talking to those captains, that's exactly their feeling. We're the next guys to step up and keep that tradition going. They think that 0 is something they fought for and earned, and they're not going to be the ones who lose it.
Right, and I agree with you, John, about having that right side becoming a little heavy, with the winning streak going as long as it is right now. And I think you look at that senior leadership right now, I think Brian Minikis is a guy that's really going to step up big for the Darien Blue Wave, not just on the field, but really off it, because you're right, there is that added pressure that this team has to keep on winning. They want to keep that winning streak going, especially for the senior class that really wants to leave a legacy.
There's pressure, but there's also the consistency.
Exactly, yes.
And the thing is, they don't seem to make mistakes.
Right.
They don't seem to give anybody any
that's
advantage.
why I'm a little worried, because Brian Peters was such a good pocket passer. This guy was so good at quarterback. What's Jack Joyce going to bring for the Blue Wave this year?
A lot of read option. I think Mitchell Pryor's a big day. We're going to do a lot of New Canaan St. Joe's tomorrow, so let's just quickly here before we run out of time. Trumbull and Greenwich on Saturday. Just one thought on that game and an X factor to which way you're leaning right now.
Trumbull has to tackle better than I saw them against Bunnell. I saw them scrimmage Bunnell. They rallied to the ball very well. You had 8, 9 guys in on a tackle, and I saw a lot of shoulders and not a lot of wrapping and a lot of second effort yards and yards after catch that ended up costing Trumbull. So I want to see if their defense does a better job at finishing the tackle.
I like Greenwich in this one, and I think what they have to do is be a little more controlled than they were last year. I feel like they did take a little bit of a step up. There were times though they stumbled against West Hill, teams like that, and I just feel like they're moving. Johnny's got it moving in the right direction right now. They've been building up, and it's a big year for them.
I'm going Greenwich too. I think you look at Coach Marinelli; he's done a nice job of really rebuilding this program. My X factor is Gavin Muir. I really enjoyed watching him at the Grip It and Rip It tournament, kind of getting a chance to talk to him. I think he's going to be a good talent this year for the Greenwich Cardinals. I'm excited to see Colton Nicholas. We've heard all the hype. I'm ready to see what he is bringing to the table. We'll obviously have a big pregame for that one at 2:30 on Saturday. We're back tomorrow, 5 o'clock, FCAC tailgate to get you ready for our opening night coverage of St. Joseph at New Canaan. For John Kovacs, Dave Stewart, Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito, all 4 of us. We'll see you again tomorrow on the HAN Network.
Who's bringing the props to the table?